Hello. Today we'll talk about something additional in the definition of management. And management talks about, or the definition of practical management is, yes, achieving goals through others on time. And this is the base that we start from all the time. In this video, we'll talk about the time itself. And my opinion is that there is nothing called time management because we don't own the time. We cannot change the time. We cannot do anything to change the consistency of time. Like 60 seconds is a minute, 60 minutes is an hour, 24 hours is a day. This we cannot change or we cannot play with. So that's why we cannot manage the time. We manage ourselves. And the idea is how to manage is to manage ourselves in the time given. And we are given the time of the day. So how can we do that? One of the tools that we're going to talk about today is delegation. We delegate things to others, to our colleagues, to our people, to the department people, to do things so that instead of doing one thing per hour, we can do 2 or 3 or 4 things instead of just doing one. And this would be the best use of the frame of time. So delegation is not easy and it's not given. I don't just give a job for somebody and tell him do this. No, it's not that easy. Delegation has 3 terms that we have to talk about. First thing is the subject itself, the task that we would delegate to somebody else. The rule is we delegate tasks, we don't delegate responsibilities. So you don't give the person the responsibility of the task that was given to you in first place. You as a manager, you can delegate it. You can give it to somebody to do it, but you cannot give them the responsibility. For example, they cannot sign instead of you. They cannot give the report directly to your superiors. They cannot go into confidential subjects. Delegation needs to be identified. So the subject to be delegated, it has to be task, not a responsibility. It has to have enough time that you can give it to somebody else and somebody return it back to you and you deliver it. And the third part, which is very important, you cannot delegate confidential tasks, like the top management give you something confidential and you give it to somebody else to do it. Where is the confidentiality here? So we have a problem with confidentiality in this part. So confidential parts, don't give it as a delegation. This is number 1, the subject. Number 2, the person. We don't give a task to a person who was not trained on it. You must train the person on the task before you give it to them. And training is not just telling. To tell somebody this is information, to give them details about it is science, education, call it whatever. But training is the good information. You give them the enough information, you give them the enough way of teaching it, they know everything about it, but they have to work on it. They have to exercise the information and do it more than once so that they can go into it automatically or they are trained on it. So we don't give a task to a person who was not trained on it. Second, you don't give a task to a person which is above his responsibilities or above his job description. And the person should be qualified to do the task that you delegate to them. And this is very important, that we don't give something to somebody which is above his qualifications. Number 3, which is very important, you don't give all the tasks of delegation to one person all the time, because this would be a hidden promise to this person that he will be the next person, or he's the number 2 in your department, or he will be the next one to be promoted. Some or a lot of employees take this as an advantage on his colleagues. So take care. Don't give it all the time to one person. Don't give hidden promises that you didn't even mean. So, the task given to somebody who's trained on it, who is qualified for it, and yes, not one person as a hidden promise. Okay, what's the third part of delegation? The third part of delegation is the communication. You must communicate totally the task given to the person given to. You have to tell them the needs of this, the results we need to find, the way to do it, and what's behind the task itself, because we need to know the reason why we are doing this so that we can do it with the heart. We don't just do it as mechanical thing or as machines. So we need to communicate the details of the task. We need to communicate the reason for the task, and we need to communicate the results needed from this task. So if you have the three things, like the task, the person, and the communication, then and only then you can delegate the tasks. And remember, we delegate tasks, we don't delegate responsibilities. Thank you very much, and see you soon. If you like my video, just show me that you like it. Thank you, and I'm waiting for your questions. Don't forget that. Keep asking me, and I'll keep answering you. Have a good day, and see you soon.